have to deal with me for about 10 more minutes, and this is, hopefully that works for us. All right, so we're gonna dive right in. If you are interested in seeing my PowerPoint skills today, that's not gonna happen. We're just gonna look at actual working solutions here. So we're in Claude here, not Claude Desktop, but as you see, Claude AI, and I threw it on Claude Opus 4.1, which Anthropic released just earlier today. So what we're going to talk about here is the fact that while solutions like this are great for many use cases, I personally wouldn't, and I was talking to Eddie about this earlier, I wouldn't deploy a production-ready financial analyst, for example, that relies on trading data or even web search. So, pull this up here. These are some of the things I was working on earlier today, like questions that if you plopped into this box with web search enabled, you might get good answers. And for folks that can't see this, these are questions like, what zero-day vulnerabilities have been discovered in Node.js 22 in the past 48 hours? Which entities were added to the OFAC sanctions list today? Do any match our transaction queue? These are more like production-ready, important questions that you need way more than just web search. Like, you need proprietary, up-to-date, real-time information if you really want to build production-ready solutions. So, what I'm going to show today is a solution that's kind of two-sided. So on one side, it helps individual users get vetted real-time proprietary data. And on the other side, and I think this is a must-have for this, our solution allows data providers, content creators, MCP tool builders to seamlessly monetize through micropayments what they're offering. I look around the MCP ecosystem right now, and I'm concerned that long-term, without some sort of a monetization, if you build MCP infrastructure or server that's really useful, today you're probably not making any money off of it, but you have to stand up that infrastructure, you have to deploy your services, you have to fix bugs. Like, at some point, you're probably gonna at least wanna recoup the costs that went into that. So really quickly, I wanna talk about what I think of as 3 primitives. So we're talking about AI a lot today. What does that mean? And the way I think about AI is 3 primitives. You have a model, so in our case we have Claude Opus 4.1, and at Radius we believe the foundational models, the open source models, they're going to keep getting better. That's not our lane, that's not where we're driving, but we know that we can rely on these models to improve. You need a prompt, and by a prompt, it could be typing into text, it could be speaking, multimodality, it could be tasks that are automatically sent in, but you need some sort of text that's coming in to prompt, quote unquote, these agents to take actions or answer your prompts. And third, and this is where I spend all of my time, is context. And now, I think context started out with RAG being really hot. Like, RAG was the big thing, how you get context in. But again, for production-ready systems, in my opinion, RAG isn't good enough. You need these agents to be able to work autonomously, discover data, access it, make purchasing decisions, and then leverage that data. So at Radius, this is where we've been working. And about a year ago, prompt engineering was the hot term. Nowadays, it's more context engineering you hear a lot about, and there are a lot of folks trying to teach people, like, as an engineer or a data scientist, how do you do context engineering? I think personally, and I could be wrong, that's a bit short-sighted. I think we should be relying on our agents to autonomously be able to engineer their own context. And somebody said it earlier, get the exact data they need at the exact time they need it, and no more, no less. And that's kind of the system that we've been operating in at Radius. So what I'm going to demo here, let me jump over into settings, and Anthropic moves so fast. A few weeks ago, I think they called this integrations, and now it's called connectors. But connectors are basically, if anybody's worked with MCP servers in Claude, Claude Code, a connector is basically an MCP server. And I pre-set up 2 earlier today. So the one called timestamp, super boring. All it does is return the current timestamp in multiple formats. I kept this one super boring because the point isn't to dive into the complexity of these MCP servers, it's to show the infrastructure of what we've built to enable anonymous purchase of this data in these tools. And then this Radius MCP server is the more important thing. So there are only two tools. One, get wallet info, is more for human use. Like if you want to know how much money your agent has to spend, you can give your agents an allowance. And if you want to know what tokens they purchased and what resources those tokens unlock, this is a good tool to trigger by just asking about wallet info. Authenticated purchase is much more, it's not meant for humans, it's meant for AI agents like Claude to pick up and say, hey, I want access to this data. I know that I need to call authenticated purchase correctly to securely purchase access to these data or tools. And this will all make more sense in a second. So let's just ask, let's see. Just gonna say, tell me about my wallet. And wallet is kind of a loaded term here. What this really means is, hey, agent, what funds do you hold and what have you done with those funds recently? As in, like, what tokens may have you purchased? So let's kick this off. And what you're gonna see is, I think something we take for granted, that LLMs are excellent at selecting the right tools at the right time. So this selected our Radius Get Wallet Info tool, and you'll notice this structured response that comes back is just context rich. Yes, this agent has a wallet. Yes, they have funds, and they own this token number 1. And as a quick aside, the way this works is the first time you connect to our Radius MCP server, you go through OAuth. So you go through a flow, you approve your Google account to be connected, and in the background, we securely create an EVM-compatible wallet, basically a blockchain wallet on the Radius network, and then you can fund that wallet for the next few months. This is funny money, this is testnet. But then your agent can autonomously use those funds to purchase access to the data it needs. So let's try to get it to trigger that timestamp server I mentioned. And why I refer to our Radius MCP server as infrastructure is because it's not very useful in and of itself. It's useful when you're using our Radius MCP server in tandem with other servers like this timestamp one. So, bear with me for a second, show me the current timestamp. If I can spell right. And let's just see if that triggers it. And again, LLM's pretty good, and what you're gonna see is several tool calls kick off. And what I'm doing here is what's referred to as tool chaining, where I'm taking the response from get timestamp, which I'll show you in a second is a structured error that instructs Claude, hey, you need to call authenticated purchase from this Radius server, and you have to pass in these exact arguments in this format. And if that is successfully called, what you get back is a cryptographically secure signature that basically proves to this timestamp server, hey, this agent, this Claude instance actually has proven they own this wallet cryptographically, and I know that their wallet holds this token. I can prove that on the Radius network. Therefore, they have passed our token gating, and they are allowed to access this data. So what you're seeing here isn't Claude knowing how to format timestamps. I can show you this quickly. Get timestamp returns, like I said, this very structured error response that tells it, this is the contract address you're interacting with on this chain, it requires this token, and then it spells out to Claude or any MCP client, this is the flow you need to go through to prove to me that you own this wallet and own these tokens. And then this is what is returned from authenticated purchase, and the important thing is all of this data is verified. So if a man-in-the-middle attack occurred and somebody tried to grab this signature and use it for nefarious purposes, like I'm gonna spoof that I own this wallet and use this malicious MCP server I set up to drain it, it can't do that. All it can do is call this tool on this server within a 30-second time frame. And this signature here is what is, it's called trustless architecture, where you don't have to trust our Radius server or this timestamp third-party server. All you have to trust is mathematics and cryptography that this signature is valid. And at the end of the day, what happens is this signature is passed up and verified, and then you actually get back the response. So we feel this flow is pretty powerful. Literally any MCP server builder, if you're building tools, resources, or prompts, you can wrap, and let me jump over to the code quick. This is the SDK that we just open sourced this afternoon, and we can share links with folks to this. This is ready for folks to start playing with today. We do not yet have the ability to deploy your own custom EVM off smart contracts to like token gate. That'll be coming in the coming days. But if you hop into our examples directory here, there's an example you can clone or just copy that shows you exactly how to start testing out our token gating solution. I just want to zoom in and show this real quick. We really want to make all of these flows user-friendly, and that's where we believe AI agents operating fully autonomously makes sense. We do not want human in the loop. Humans to have to say, yes, I verify that transaction. Yes, you can spend 3/4 of a penny on purchasing that data. You should empower your agents to do that. But let's say you built an MCP server. This is the only code you need to add to protect it. You install our Radius MCP SDK, plop in the smart contract address related to your token gating smart contract, and this is all you have to do. Your typical tool handler with all your logic is there, and all you do is wrap it in this radius.protect, put in the token ID or token IDs that an agent would need to access that data, and then it's off to the races. You can start monetizing your MCP tools that easily. And I know I'm running up against time. I was going to show this if anybody wants to see this later. This works not just in Claude.ai, this works across all MCP clients that support OAuth. So Windsurf, Cursor, this is Claude Code, it fully works. So if you want to build like a pull request reviewer MCP server or a security auditor MCP server or anything you can think of, you could build that, wrap your tools in our monetization, offer it to the community. Folks could install it, as I did here in Claude Code, and begin using it right in here. So this will be connected to your OAuth account, and your wallet can use its funds to access, like I said, PR reviewer, security audit tools, and just autonomously spend their funds to access these premium tools and use them to enhance your code base. So sorry if I went a little over time, but that's what I had to show today. Thank you.